Cadiz, Andalusia, Spain, one of the oldest cities in Western Europe. Founded by the Phoenicians, it has archaeological remains dating back 3,100 years. Christopher Columbus sailed from Cadiz on his second and fourth voyages, and later the city became the home port of the notorious Spanish treasure fleet. As a result, it became a major target of Spain's enemies. This monument celebrates the establishment of the Constitution of Cadiz, the first constitution of Spain, established in 1812. I'd heard much about the old city's streets here, with narrow alleys connecting large plazas, but to immediately come across the Plaza de España, with its gardens, fountains, and beautiful buildings was special. But as soon as we left it, we were in the narrow streets, with their balconies, shuttered windows, street lamps, even cannon on street corners. They were placed on the corners of buildings in times past to protect them as carriages ran past. As many as 114 cannon were thus used. My first impression was that we disembarked from the ship and immediately entered a different world, and enthralled that we were able to be here. Our usual habit is to stroll ashore, take in first impressions of the city, and then have a coffee. Nate, being a connoisseur, will often check online for a good place, where we can enjoy the best coffee a place has to offer. You notice the water? In Europe, water is usually served with coffee to cleanse the palate and replace body water. It ended up being a special moment. In Cadiz, we were immediately confronted by so many fascinating facets and intriguing sights. Whilst on the one hand it was a feast for the senses, on the other hand it was intellectually beguiling and totally stimulating. Cadiz is on a peninsula surrounded by the sea. Nate's pointing out our ship, literally only a few minutes walk away. We then encountered a charming little shop selling local products, and immediately Nate saw it as a great gift opportunity, and a leather pencil case was acquired with personalized calligraphy and design, the shop owner being very adept. A work of art. Next stop, the Plaza de la Cathedral and the Cathedral of Cadiz, with its panoramic tower that affords great views over the city. The Mediterranean weather always enhances the experience for me. Plazas like this, with backdrops of intricate architecture and alfresco dining, always a delight. As a visitor, I always love it when I can absorb the special atmosphere of a place. It gets imprinted on the memory. but Cadiz brings back memories of history in school. 1587, when Francis Drake occupied the harbour for 3 days, captured 6 ships, and destroyed 31 others. This impertinent, contemptuous act by Drake became known in England as the singeing of the King of Spain's beard. I remember it well. The new cathedral was built from 1722 to 1838. That's 116 years, and clearly more than one architect had influence. In fact, though originally intended to be in the Baroque style, it contains other elements, and was finally finished in the neoclassical style. As with many churches and cathedrals in Spain, it's a stunning accomplishment. The intricate design and workmanship put into these places of worship never cease to amaze me. Many paintings and relics from the old cathedral I always look up when I'm in a cathedral, and when one does this, one's senses are immediately assailed by the beauty of the ceilings. But we had another purpose for coming here. We began to climb the Levante Tower that is open to the public and involves a steep walk. How high is it?
Only 40 meters.
40 meters up. That's easy.
Worth it.
Indeed, it was. A perfect Mediterranean day. And not only am I in the dead center of the observable universe, but I can see as far as the eye can see. In the daytime, that is. In the distance, our ship takes a break. Normally this is a bird's eye view, but I suppose from the tower of a cathedral it's a divine view. Below, a divine dancer, complete with castanets, Spanish hat, Spanish dress and Spanish music. Meanwhile, up on high, we can see our next destination, the beach. Looking a little misty over there. Up here one gets a great idea of the location and layout of the city. That hotel looks great. Maybe it's a restaurant too. I get my shots up here, and Nathan gets his. Then back to explore. Well, suddenly we've encountered the mist right on the ocean here. It's quite strange, but still warm, and even a nice breeze. By the time we'd walked to the beach area, a thick mist had descended, and it was like a wholly different day and place. Believe it or not, this was shot exactly 15 minutes after the last shot on the Cathedral Tower. Not only the mist, but also the wind suddenly got up. It was still warm. It just felt strange, like what happened. Look at the flags. Nate had bought a bucket of snails, but they were disappointing. So we sat and watched the strange mist. I've never seen anything like it. It was so quick to come. The wind too. Visibility was down to a couple of 100 yards. The Santa Catalina Castle will be our next destination. In the meantime, we are praying the mist will disappear just as quickly as it came. Having said that, it did make for unusual shots. We were just sitting here for half an hour, and already the outlook has changed. Our prayers were answered. We still had a nice breeze, but the sea mist disappeared just as quickly as it came. This shot is 27 minutes later. So it's deep-fried squid with a bread roll and a drink as we continue to enjoy the Mediterranean sunshine. then on to the castle. The Santa Catalina castle was built by Felipe II after the Anglo-Dutch looting of 1596. It's star-shaped with two bastions and surrounded by a moat. It's a World Heritage Site and admission is free. So we had a look around. The chapel was built 100 years after the castle. In the grounds, several pieces of modern art. It was an interesting and enjoyable place to look around. Over 400 years of history. A beautiful place with great views and history all around. Nate particularly enjoyed it. It was to Cadiz that the vast treasure that supported the Spanish Empire arrived, in treasure galleons which at the time became targets of thieves who wanted to steal from thieves. As my famous namesake wisely discerned, the love of gold is a root of all kinds of evil, and some people eager for money wandered from their faith to get it. Here their names were Felipe and Elizabeth. Hardly setting a good example, actually encouraging it, abusing one of the most important tenets of their faith, namely, the good example of their adherents. Everybody wanted gold, and Queen Elizabeth I of England wanted her share. Thus Cadiz was a well-sought-after place in the late 16th century. In fact, England and Spain were constantly fighting one another at that time, and Cadiz and nearby Spanish cities were venues for many a battle. I love history, and places like this always fascinate me. Come to think of it, this castle would never have been built were it not for the English. Now there's a profound thought. So we head back to the ship, walking around the coast. A beautiful walk through history and gardens. The sounds of waves lapping on the shore. Enveloped by aesthetic elegance. Reminders of the past all around as we strolled along the deserted promenade. unchanged for centuries. Then back onto the ship to prepare for dinner. In no time, we were sailing away with our memories of another engrossing day in Spain and the intriguing city of Cadiz, perhaps the oldest settled city in Western Europe with 3,000 years of history.